try.
It sounds louder than normal. I think my ears are just sensitive today.
It's all that Rocket League.
I don't know. It's something.
Wow, you actually sequenced everything correctly.
I'm just waiting for it all to fuck up right now. That's all I'm waiting for.
I didn't sequence everything correctly because my tablet's all blasting the stream. Whoops.
Oh, were you were you feedback looping
Yeah, I was
us?
feeding back. Feedbacking.
Everyone get ready for an interesting show because I'm pretty degaff at the moment. It's like self-destructive level of degaff. So who knows where this show's gonna go today? Why is my light not on? I knew something looked weird.
Oh,
Phil, talk about some crap right now while I figure out what's happening.
Yeah,
here.
what the heck is up with this Govee app or Govee Lights update? Because we have a bunch of Govee lights at the studio, and then for some reason recently they just all started turning off randomly. Like that. That's supposed to be on forever, like 24/7, along with the accent lights in our studio.
Why does the frame rate look terrible in this? Like,
oh yeah, it does look terrible.
We didn't do anything. We didn't change anything. Look at this.
Somebody said the stream is in 12 FPS, 24 FPS.
RTX.
Oh, jeez.
What happened?
I don't know.
I didn't change anything.
I didn't either. Does it?
Are you sure it's something frame rate wise and the camera didn't change?
No. Well, let me check.
What the heck? I apologize for all the audio listeners. Look, this has just been the week of all tech crap just don't work.
As the Beastie Boys would
say.
say,
Just be stupid.
It's sabotage.
160 30 FPS? Yeah. Capture card, maybe.
I didn't change a damn thing. Whatever. You guys just get very cinematic today. Okay? This show's about the audio anyway, right? Let's face it.
FPS brought to you by Asus. Because it is. We checked that we were joking about that right before the stream. We're like, wait a second, is our stream rig on an Asus board? Yeah, it literally is. So without any more information, we're going to call it that. It's Asus's fault that we're in 12 FPS right now.
I have never ever had it.
Yeah.
That's not even 24. That's bad.
Yeah. It looks like 15 or something.
You talk about something, Phil, because I want to figure it out.
You're going to try figuring it out?
I'm really...
Well, Nick was talking about you were literally explaining you found a new 3D printing process or something that came out?
Yeah, did you want to say that for later?
No, let's just run into it right now. We're YOLOing this.
Why save it for later? I'm saying
Well, since we're here.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so basically it's called additive friction stir deposition.
Friction stir deposition.
Oh, well, thanks. Well, anyway, so instead of like your normal heat up and extrude your material and extrude it, this one just spins it around to the point where it's still like under melting temp, and it just kind of smears it on top. So you can do it with metal. It's like metal.
Yeah, it's like metal friction welding, except instead of using it to connect parts, it's depositing it.
Yeah, it deposited it. So I don't know. It was just really neat because I was looking at the website like last night. My friend told me about it, so I started digging into it. And I'm like, this is actually kind of cool because it isn't because it's not using like melting temps. You're not gonna compromise the material by already heating it up. Like that's why we only put like when you do a weld in a roll cage, you only do it once.
Right. There's like the whole area around the weld that's like heat, like it's not damaged,
it's
but
like tempered.
Yeah.
In a way. But yeah. So this kind of takes that out, and you could actually print out stronger pieces, or in some cases even repair things on a large scale. So
that's dope because I know Relativity Space is the company that's doing like full size 3D printed rockets.
Yeah.
And obviously they're printing in metal because PLA isn't going to hold freaking. Just like that.
I didn't do anything. Hold on.
You are now entering the Twilight Zone.
I quit. You know what? I quit. I'm out. I hate this shit. So over this shit.
Wait, it says Elgato no signal.
Baby shit. I don't care anymore.
Motion blur users totally vibing right now. Yeah. Just doing this the whole time.
It is an Asus motherboard, by the way, in this system.
I wasn't joking when you said, yeah, it's Asus.
Is this planned obsolescence? Like, is it? They just sent out.
They're like the moment
the execute order 66.
The moment Jay puts the video up, it's just like every Asus board in the office just compromises itself.
I don't see. All I did was open up the Elgato app to see if maybe.
And then it started. Deciding
Elgato stole the video.
Oh, right.
Because it's like, wait, we're the capture card. We get the priority.
Yeah.
But then it was capturing the audio as well. So it was, that's why you were hearing. That's why they saw no signal, but heard the audio being like doubled.
Echoed. Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh,
I'll deal with it. I apologize. Literally, we have done nothing. Touched this computer one time.
Yeah.
For a. It wasn't even. We didn't even use the camera of the Elgato. It was just us.
Literally
like, on a conference
like
call.
an audio conference call.
Since last Friday when we did the last stream and everything was fine. So
That's funny.
Look, if I say I'm at the end of my rope right now regarding just, I want to grab some of these tech company CEOs and I just want to smack the shit out of them. Like I want to take them into a corner and I want to literally smack the ever-loving crap and like open hand slap, like a disrespectful level of slap is what I want. Not a punch. I want to slap
Backhand?
them. No, not even a backhand.
Dang.
A backhand is too much motion.
They don't even deserve a backhand.
Because I want it to be a disrespectful strike. Okay? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like my level of frustration with so many of these brands right now is like, I can't even describe it.
Did this trigger Jay's villain arch?
Villain arch?
Yeah.
His arc?
No, my
story
my origin story has been growing. It's just matured now. Like I'm ready to just. I'm ready.
Will Smith slap. I forgot about that, dude. Dang. Oh my gosh! I remember all the celebrities too tweeting out like, "Oh my god, I was traumatized by it." It's like it's a dude slapping a dude. It's not that traumatic.
Yeah, you've seen it before.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. In front of on live TV, in front of millions of people, that might be traumatic. I mean, think about it, Phil.
I don't want to think about it because it's funnier when I don't think about things.
Things hurt less when you don't think about
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Like slaps. No, I'm kidding.
Creamy slaps.
Creamy slaps. What's up with the bit rate? Yeah, we're having a fifth issue.
That's why I wanted to fix it, because we're gonna have these morons come in here constantly, be like, "Why is it the bit rate?" When we obviously know the bit rate is crap. I almost broke the stream a second ago trying to fix it. Again, we didn't do it.
This computer hates us today.
Chat, do me a favor. Anyone comes in here and is like, "That frame rate's low." Open season, okay? Just hunting season is in full effect. Just go. Don't let me have to do it, okay?
JayzTwoCents
Like an open floor roast.
Open mic. Just go.
Just go.
So 3D printing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was really neat just because, I mean, you could do it. They mentioned how they could repair, say, like a vehicle. They could print onto the space. You don't have to print it in an enclosed area. It's an open air printer.
Dang. And it I'm
So you can
assuming
do
it has the same strength as the original material that
If
you're
not
lining
better.
into it. Wow.
But yeah, so
It's metal.
Yeah, it's a metal printer. But they already mentioned like you could do, apart from like steel, you could do titanium and stuff like that. Like there's already different metals.
This is like this is where was it commercial grade like that first and then made its way to consumers, you think? Or do you think the consumer popularity has allowed these companies to really sort of innovate and spend money in R&D to make it, how do we large scale this?
Because I feel like it seems like,
because wasn't a rocket 3D printed?
Yeah, but that's what I was telling. That's what I was telling Nick. Like, they don't use that method. I think this method is newer, and I think it's because they probably were like, "Hey, we already do friction welding, like a lot in manufacturing. What if we just smeared it while it was friction welding?
Let's just
make
friction weld on a substrate instead of like on the two objects together.
It's almost like you're printing.
I would love to see. I would love to see what the actual strength is of that joint.
Yeah,
I would too.
That's been. Because often they say a welded two pieces of metal welded together are stronger at the weld than the metal itself is.
Yeah, the Relativity Space was getting all those jokes of like, wait, they just made the whole rocket out of weld then because it's strong. It's like, that's literally what they're doing. It's just they just weld a giant spiral upwards and then because I know that they're using like the outer skin of the rocket is also the wall for the fuel tank. Like there's no layers or anything.
There's a
It's
bladder
strong
in there
enough. Yeah. Like I know their rockets like something like that. Like they don't even have to make a separate pressure vessel inside.
Do you think this stuff is ever going to come to like private or residential use? I should say, not commercial use.
Right. Like cars or something.
The problem is cost.
Yeah.
That you're talking something on millions of dollars worth of scale.
Yeah.
Because because we can put together a car pretty like quickly and cheaply nowadays. But it's like I think because I know
which is faster?
Yeah,
3D printing your own parts that you need to create something, or putting in an order with a manufacturer overseas and then wait for it to come on a container ship and all that. Where you're just literally like create the file and boop, off it goes.
Because there's like different things that like different manufacturing processes, right?
Because if we talk about cost, it's really the compare and contrast versus mass production, like how fast you can stamp out, let's say a control arm for a car. If we're talking about 3D printing car parts, like a control arm, okay, something simple, stamp steel, just off it goes. They're stamp steeling 100 of them an hour, right? Something like that, maybe even more. Versus the time it takes to print one, which you know is going to be slower. However, once it's done, it's in your hands.
Yeah.
So which is going to be better, having a slower something manufactured in-house or something you can mass quantity produce overseas much cheaper and then get it in hand. So that's the cost analysis there.
And don't forget, like at least for relativity, they've mentioned that the primary reason they're using 3D printing stuff is because you can print things that cannot be CNC'd.
Correct.
Like they can't be subtractively manufactured.
CNC is you have an extruder versus an extractor.
So
right?
like they...
Or no, not extractor.
A cutter.
It's subtractive
because
stuff. I forgot what it's called.
But like an injector plate for like a rocket engine, right? Like that's something that's really annoying to manufacture traditionally. But they just print theirs in as they're printing the engine. It just
but the
part
cool
of it
thing
already.
is
Yeah.
if they need to make a minor adjustment,
exactly, they can iterate that much faster too.
They don't have to send it off to another manufacturing lab.
Yeah, and when they're printing the engine, that change is already part of it, and you know what I mean. Like you don't have to like manufacture a different part, then reinstall it into another thing. It's just that was the reason that they were talking about, where they can do a lot of these more organic shapes and stuff that are more aerodynamic instead of like
and lighter weight as
normal
well.
metal pieces that are bolted together, and then they have to deal with that stuff.
Because I already know like BBI out in Long Beach, they already print like in house. They already print like their headers, exhaust headers.
I was gonna say, yeah,
engines.
I feel like for cars, I don't think a car is gonna be 3D printed, but this is great for like the aftermarket, like mod parts and stuff like that, like smaller parts that
or things like or discontinued parts. Even. Like you can just whip it.
Oh,
up
you're
now.
right. Yeah, that's a good point. Because yeah, you could just like you have a brand new like part for like a classic car or something like that, and you can just instead of having to design it, run it through like the traditional manufacturing process of like. Because again,
you probably still have to like measure it and redesign it proper to print. But
yeah, but the cool thing about 3D printing stuff is that you don't have that like minimum amount of like like if you bring something to manufacture, there's like a minimum amount that you have to order from the company. Otherwise, it's not really worth it.
Or if you mess up one part of it, that it compromises the whole design. You have to like remachine everything.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. That's awesome though. That it's basically just a modified friction weld.
Yeah.
What?
What?
Nothing. I just. Right. Can you guys repeat that?
Modified.
Oh, I still have a picture of my moon. Moon. Moon.
I like how Jay just turned into the moon.
The moon.
Wait, here. Ta-da.
Oh wait, you guys. Here we go.
So dumb.
You guys still haven't gotten together and looked at
Because
the telescope.
it's still been cloudy.
No, in the
forever.
evening it's been clear. Like Venus is still brightest thing in the sky right now.
Yeah,
well, exception of the moon.
I
But
still definitely want to check out the telescope.
streamer room. Oh wait. Oh, okay, that's right. That's when we were doing our like react or something. I don't remember. I just like randomly like, what is up with my scenes? I'm trying to see what could be causing the low frame rate, because now people are saying every few seconds it's hiccuping or pausing. So something is up with the system. Like, I don't know. The only thing I could think is when I launched OBS, it was like, there's an update, do the update, and then I didn't. So now it's probably like, oh, let's force them to update by making this one crap.
Well, you want to get on
updating the OS in the background, maybe?
What?
Is not updating the background?
That would have nothing to do with the frame rate on the capture right now.
Okay.
Yeah, if this computer couldn't do that, then it's.
I'm mooning the
powerful.
internet.
Oh my! I just got that. Thank you.
No, it doesn't deserve more than that.
The laugh track.
So you want to go to the hot topic of this week?
I love the amount of
company.
people that are saying I'm just jumping on the hate Asus bandwagon. I trust Steve's data. And Steve's data was not compiled by just Steve. It was compiled by quite a few people in the industry that are very trustworthy, and Wendell being one of them. So when Steve's findings came out, it was enough for me to be like, okay, enough is enough. And it's not the sole excuse.
Because it was like that compounded with all of our personal weirdness that we've been
I think the other thing that was
experiencing.
irritating me is that people were like, well, it was easy for you to walk away because, you didn't have any money from them. So it's not like putting your money where your mouth is. It was well into the six figures that we walked away from on that contract. The reality here is that there's I don't trust the quality of the brand. So people pointed out like, hey, you weren't using MSI for a while, but now you're talking about MSI again. The issue with MSI was their slimy GPU practices about selling direct to miners and all that. And you know what? They definitely took a hit from all that, and they were very vocal with us and stuff behind the scenes about even recently, like this year, because this was like over 2 years ago, where I told them like, yo, pound sand, until you prove yourself otherwise. Yeah. About the fact that they've made a lot of process changes internally to try and be better. Now, I think their RMA process, from what people have showed me, still sucks. I think almost every brand out there, with the exception of maybe EVGA and maybe ViewSonic's been real solid in the RMA side, needs to improve their RMAs. I think every big brand is just backwards on how the RMA process needs to be. Yeah. I feel like every RMA process should include a cross ship and should include free shipping. Mm-hmm. I don't think you should be responsible for having to pay the shipping. And I feel like the cross ship is the least you can do, because let's face it, if you truly are standing behind your product and you know that when a motherboard goes bad or a graphics card goes bad or whatever, then you are out the usefulness of that system until it's repaired. Yep. Now, I also believe a cross ship should include a deposit. Yep. People got on the EVGA about this. When EVGA had the issue with the 3090 Ti's, or was it 3090 Ti? 3090 Ti, I think, with the VRMs failing, with the whole New World thing. Yeah. They absolutely offered cross ship, but they also required a deposit in the amount of the graphics card. Yeah, I
saw people getting mad about that on Twitter, and I was like, that's
now
that's
I understand not everyone
yeah.
had an extra 50, and it was an MSRP. Like their MSRP of their card, not any inflated prices. Because EVGA sold their cards direct on their website for their price, not the inflated stuff. I understand too, not everyone has $1,500 laying around to be able to like, okay, I can't give you that deposit. But at the same time, if you've ever, opportunity exists everywhere for people to try and scam or cheat or lie or whatever to get something for free. So I understand a brand's perspective of, hey, we need some protection here to make sure we're not just sending off 150 graphics cards that we're just going to eat the cost on, especially with the low margins graphics cards are. But if you look at the amount of money a company like Asus has, that's the kind of thing you have to do to earn back the trust. So it's an ugly situation where, I said it in my video, I believe 100% that the company is just too big right now. And I know that sounds like, we do capitalism, blah, 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 whatever. It's just, what I mean by too big, when we would order something from Asus, even if they reached out and wanted to sponsor a build or something, they're like, hey, here's the parts list to go over it, tell us what you think, and I would make changes or whatever and say, okay, that's fine, whatever we want to send. It would take weeks to get it. Weeks. Because of the fact that their process internally even is so convoluted. Like we've seen in the past, like the trail of request, like the flow chart of what it goes through to make it to a distribution center to finally have something sent to us. And it's kind of ridiculous, the amount of steps. Like I can't fathom why it takes so long. To be fair, Corsair is another one of our sponsors, and I have complained up the ass about how slow they are at getting stuff shipped. It has improved because of the amount of complaining myself and other people have made about the process being too. It's almost like a company feels like the bigger they are, the more difficult it needs to be to get things done, because it's like, we're a big company. We got big wheels that take time to turn, It's like, no, that doesn't need to be the way that it is. The problem with Asus is 100% the way they are trying to sweep this under the rug. Even today, there's been a ton of changes on their website, a ton of language changes, even BIOS changes in terms of if you guys, I don't go on Twitter anymore. I've said screw Twitter a long time ago. Like, it's not worth my time anymore. I'm tired of being abused on that platform. So I did go on today because I was curious as to what some of the comments were under the listing of our video. And I noticed Steve had showed like something someone had tweeted to him, like showing, look, now they're saying the BIOS after the one that they put up that was supposed to fix the problem is the officially supported one. And my first thought was, why was that BIOS still up if there's a newer one that's supposed to support it?
Yeah, look, because they left the beta one up, right?
Why?
Yeah.
Because they want as many people to install that to avoid the warranty as possible, because then they could go back and be like, oh, see, you installed this one, which was optional in beta, and now you own the motherboard. Because, again, they don't want to have to replace the motherboards.
So sketchy.
So, anyway, Asus is doing the absolute positively worst thing a brand can do when they mess up. And that is ignore it. They're obviously aware, or they wouldn't be making all these changes in the background.
Mm-hmm.
But they're doing like what Tesla does. Tesla's another brand that feels like they make no mistakes. They are God's gift to cars. And even though their build quality is garbage and they leave parts out of their cars because they may not be in stock because of shortages and stuff, panel gaps, what are those, right? They just don't care because they drink their own Kool-Aid to the point to where they believe like, no, everything we do is perfect and we'll just fix it later. And if you read any Tesla customer service stories, they're pretty bad. So what does it take for somebody to trust Asus again? Like for you, Phil, you did not use Asus in your most recent build that we did intentionally. Mm-hmm. You were like, I'm done with Asus before I was.
Yeah.
What would it take?
Because it was around the time, it was like in between the backwards capacitor and whatever the other Asus thing that happened was after that.
Well, there's a lot of Asus things.
Yeah, I know, but it was like around then, and I was just
don't forget the Armory crate issues and all of the broken Aura stuff.
I've had to
all the way down to the BIOS level.
Yeah, I've had to reinstall Windows like multiple times because of Armory crate breaking things. Like it broke my RAM at one point. Like it broke the RGB module on the RAM at one point, which was a G-Skill RAM. Yeah, it's just their software is so bad that I was just like, you know what, like, and then.
What does it take? What does it take for you to go? I will give Asus another chance. Consumer speaking, because you're a consumer.
It's just it goes back to how I forgot what we were reviewing, but
someone said you forgot Crapple. They're the worst. Wait till you watch my next video.
What is it? No, we were reading something, and I had mentioned that it feels like they actually put some give a fuck in this product. That's what I need to see from Asus is like I need to see that like they actually care about the experience of using their product instead of the experience of spending all this extra money over another brand for something that's really pretty, but then like the rest of the thing sucks.
Look, their technical marketer, I won't say his name, but those in the know. I have never seen anyone internally defend the internal culture that exists at Asus, like this particular technical PR person. I have never seen anyone literally drunk on the Kool-Aid.
Wow.
To that level. And it sucks because over the years, like I've just gotten to the point where the amount of BS that is put out, I just can't anymore. And it's not, and you gotta understand, totally off record because I'm not gonna name these people, but I've gone to other folks, both large channels and small channels, and collaborate and be like, so what's your experience with Asus been? And what have they said to you, et cetera, et cetera. And it's all the same thing.
Story.
It's the same story. The story is you're doing something wrong. It's my job to figure out what you're doing wrong, but you're doing something wrong. And here's a 25-page essay as to what you're possibly doing wrong.
As if we don't know how to use a computer.
Exactly.
Jesus.
Exactly. And it's funny because one of the most recent suggestions that was made by this person on my personal system with all the memory issues is what made it worse. And that's when I finally had changed the motherboard out. And you saw changing the motherboard fixed it. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't until another content creator that is much farther north than us talking to some of their staff about their experiences on the X3D stuff.
Oh.
With staff members that used to belong to certain companies that were really able to tell me how it really goes.
I love this lawyer speak because you have to.
Where there was enough insight to say, okay, this isn't a Jay problem. This is an Asus is better than everybody else problem.
Right.
And the problem is you can have brand confidence. You can believe in your own brand, but to blindly feel like your brand never does anything wrong is so anti-consumer. It's not even funny.
I can't believe that. They're acting that way to everyone. It's like, dude, have you guys used?
See, and then you get morons like in chat. NAM, AMD, X3D is just bad.
It's not AMD.
No, it's not AMD's fault.
Oh my god, AMD told them.
And yeah, you're a moron. So
yeah, they're right. It's just not worth the energy. Yeah, it's not.
Like,
Thank you, Arnor.
It's like, okay, so even with the build that I got to do here, like the torrent build, it was one generation back because I usually don't prefer first like cutting edge stuff. I prefer at least one gen back.
Look, AM4 5000 5900X CPU, like not even 5900X, solid.
Yeah, but
that's what this computer is. This problem we're experiencing with this computer right now is OBS and Elgato. It's not.
Yeah, we were kidding, but it is an Asus board. But yeah,
but I feel like after that. And then the recent news about Asus, I felt like their whole focus has just been on the unboxing experience. Like they don't even care about what you unbox because they make it all pretty and they give you a ton of extras, just to like fluff it up. Like, oh, we could give you the DIMM slots or we'll give you antennas. We'll give you some like a key ring and stuff. They fluff it up, you know? Like
it's almost like they care.
No, realistically, that's leaning into the fanboy.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's almost like they care about the image of the product over the actual product.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like the idea of like I got myself a Republic of Gamers Strix 4090.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah,
having an ROG product back in the day was that way.
Yeah,
because guess what?
And then it got complete.
ROG products carried that level of prestige and they carried that level of quality.
Yeah,
and Asus was a lot smaller of a company back then, but. I mean, again, off record, because I'm not going to put names out there, this problem truly does stem from the management. It does.
If it's a cultural issue, there's nothing you can do about it until it changes.
Well,
yeah. I mean, there's nothing we as consumers can do about it.
No, sure there is.
Besides
but it takes time.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. How many people do you think are buying motherboards this very moment? Right.
At least two, because people in chat are
first of all, I have no idea what the revenue split for Asus's income is off of motherboards. I know it's got to be higher than EVGA's. EVGA's was 3%. Okay, and the sad part is EVGA it makes some of the most solid motherboards you could buy. They really do. But it's 3% of their business. So if everyone was like, let's say this was an EVGA thing right now. If everyone was like, oh, I'm never buying an EVGA motherboard again, congratulations, you've just cut them out of the markup or overhead of 3% of their business, which is bigger now because that was 3% when gigabytes, no, GPUs were still part of their business. Realistically, their biggest earner right now, like EVGA, is power supplies, But what has happened with Asus since the ROG name was something that was big for them? They now make power supplies. They now make cases. They now make motherboards. They make keyboards. They make headsets. They make microphones. They make obviously the graphics cards.
Handheld gaming PCs now. yeah.
Handheld gaming PCs. But let's look at the total Asus experience now.
Don't forget the chairs.
That's probably just a rebrand, to be honest.
No, it's the gaming chairs?
I'm fairly certain there's an ODM for that.
Oh.
But still, they have, on the commercial side, they make workstation boards. They make all-in-one workstation PCs. They make, obviously, the cell phone market, the laptop market, the thin and light, the gaming laptops, tablets. There's so much happening that every time you expand a company, I feel like anytime you have to pivot or make any sort of change in a company like that, it's the too big to make any changes kind of a thing. It's like
big ship turns slow.
Yeah, which is more maneuverable, a speedboat or a cruise liner? But the thing is, a cruise liner is going to sink a lot slower than a speedboat. The ship analogies, I love it. But what I started to say was, yes, you absolutely can make change, but it takes time. People in chat want to boycott, and here's the thing: if you're raising your fist and saying boycott Asus, but you weren't in the market to buy anything anyway, you're kind of powerless on having any effect or any change, because the pocketbook, the money you would spend is how you enact that change, and it takes time, where Asus would have to see like quarter on quarter declines. And here's the thing, even through this whole thing, I really doubt Asus is going to see any sort of income decline. What they're going to see is a growth slowdown.
Yeah.
So year on year, quarter on quarter, Asus sees growth. That's how they've created the giant company that they are now. So let's say they're used to seeing a 5 to 8% quarter on quarter growth in some industry market. Let's say motherboards. They might see a 2 to 5% growth now, but they're not going to see a decline. They need to see steady, like we're in the red.
Yeah.
To say, uh-oh, we've messed up. And the reality is they'll do whatever it takes, probably, to fix the problem in the near term. But that's my dilemma, is I don't know how long you wait before you say, okay, it seems like they've tried to right the wrongs, and you can trust them again. So I want to bring up MSI for again,
because that was one company that we've done the entire cycle on.
I've had 2 MSI boards be bad in 11 years. 2. One of them was an X299 board when I was doing one of my Skunkworks builds, and one of the RAM channels was bad, and I was just irritated because it was 2:30 in the morning, and I had to rip the whole thing apart to get the motherboard out just to switch. Okay. The other one was that it was another one of the X299 boards that we were sent for review, but then they like followed up with an email like right the day I received it. They were like, "Don't use this board. There's a problem with it. It will break your CPU." And guess what? MSI was aware of it, and they put it out there, and we're like, "Stop! All stop!" And they sent a different one with revisions, and they were open about it. Our issue with MSI was just their business practices regarding the GPU side of things in terms of the direct sales to miners. And by miners, I don't mean kids. I mean
minors.
Miners and minors.
Yeah.
Crypto.
So will we ever work with Asus again? There's a possibility if they show us that they're consumer-centric again.
Yep.
We need to see them put their money where their mouth is, and we need to see them put the consumer before the profit. That's what we need to see. If anyone brings up like the Thermaltake, my Thermaltake issue, I've actually reached out to Thermaltake multiple times in the last few years, because I ran into them at CES one year, I think 4 years ago, something like that. And they were just like, "Hey, is there any chance we could, get back in on your review cycle and send you some product for you to look at? The whole team you had a problem with, like they're gone, it's all new, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera." I'm like, "Okay, sure. You know what? I can't hold a grudge forever.
Yeah.
And I have to be proven now that I am not just being vengeful by holding a grudge." The irony is, as many times as I've reached out and emailed them back, they've never responded. So I'm like, okay, that's fine, because I'm not really missing out on anything there.
Yeah. But you're neutral at this point because...
I am neutral.
Yeah.
If they wanted to send something for me to look at, like a case or whatever, absolutely. Their water cooling stuff, I don't care for their water cooling stuff based on what I've seen. Power supplies, maybe. I had a tough power in the first PC I built coming back to PC after being a Mac fanboy. But yeah, I think the problem is, and I need people to understand this, everyone is assuming now, from now until the end of time, Asus is dead to me. But they're not.
Yeah. And
I've already said this. They have to prove to us that they are trustworthy again. And it's not like there's a chart that's like, if then boom, trustworthy. It's a feeling. You have to listen to what people are saying. You got to see what the general feedback is, and then you determine based on that. The amount of people that are like, "Oh crap, I just built a new computer with Asus. Am I safe?" Probably, very unlikely you'll see something go wrong. Very unlikely. But the fact that enough has gone wrong,
Yeah.
to be able to, even for Steve to recreate it again, shows that there is work to be done in being trustworthy. I think this kind of stuff, lots of companies have experienced this. The problem is a lot of these companies that have experienced this sort of problem, i.e. Tesla, Apple, etc., they never believe they're in the wrong. They never believe they've done anything wrong.
I was just thinking of the iPhone 4, right? You're holding it wrong. It's like, really? No, maybe don't design an antenna gap where a hand goes on the device.
Free bumpers.
Yeah. It's so dumb. And I was an Apple fanboy through that part too, and I still think that was like the stupidest thing.
It's depressing because I truly am a fanboy of the entire genre. PC gaming,
Yeah,
PCMR,
any
the whole
tech,
deal.
any computer.
So it's depressing when it feels like, what is the freaking meltdown in the industry this month?
Yeah, it's like, it's like spin the wheel of controversy. Which part is gonna blow up this month? Is it gonna be a backwards capacitor? Is it gonna be a processor? Is it gonna be power supply?
So
I forgot about the power supply. Not Asus power supply, but
Gigabyte.
like the Gigabyte ones. Yeah, we're popping. They're popping.
The problem with that one is that the OCD or the overcurrent or the OCP, the overcurrent protection, would trip like the breaker. But then, I forgot the exact details. But the bottom line is like you could force it to explode by hitting it just right with OCP.
It was surprisingly violently because I didn't watch Steve's video until we used it to illustrate. And then I pulled that clip out of it, and I was like, "Dude, it's so loud." It was like so violent when it popped. I was like, "Dude, this
In
is..."
chat, Jay, did you manage to stabilize your home setup from Nam? Again, the guy I yelled at. My system is never considered stable at home right now. And again, that's not a 7950 X3D thing. I honestly firmly believe it is an Asus thing. I really do.
Because you have the motherboard that's smack dab in the middle of the affected stuff.
Yes.
And a BIOS that's smack dab in the middle.
And I really don't want to take it out and try a different board. I really want to just more than likely platform switch, honestly. Because I don't have the time or the effort to be dealing with the tinkering. Like, I like tinkering on my system, but the thing is, when I wasn't having to live stream, like I say having to live stream, I like my live stream when I do my live stream, but to turn on the PC and then be like, oh, I've got all these problems happening right as I'm trying to start my stream, it's really annoying.
That sucks.
It's beyond annoying. And it's all RAM related. Every bit of it's RAM related. And so it just sucks.
Jeez. That was next door.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Someone getting it on? What's happening?
So for the audio, well, I mean, they didn't hear it, but yeah, the next door suite was yelling through the wall or something. I don't know.
Yell something back.
Something.
I thought it was like my foot squeaking against my chair.
Hi. I don't know.
Are they peaceful?
Are they peaceful? You poke a hole through the hello?
Yeah.
Also, chat right now. This is where I need you guys to help us with some FTFA stuff before we get to that section of the show. I hear him again.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the emails sucked this week, so I didn't use a single one.
Try again.
I need you guys to email us something you think would be like fun to talk about. Because I got a lot of like, I have this CPU and this motherboard, trash. So if I want to buy this power supply, trash. Like that is not what this show's. That's not what this show's about. So I need like, okay, would you want to fight 50 chicken-sized nicks or one
Nick-sized chicken?
Nick-sized chicken? That kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, those are the kinds of questions we're looking for here. It's Friday. We want to veg out. We don't want to think.
I want to fight one Nick-sized chicken because then when I win, I'm going to have some good fried chicken. I'll have a lot of it, too. You can come over.
Apparently, you like Indian food.
Yeah. It's all spicy.
Spicy chicken.
Spicy chicken.
I can't. It's too spicy.
I've had Nick's mom's spicy chicken. I'm telling you right now. I love that story. My story time.
Yeah.
Story time. My wife. Every story always starts with my wife. My wife does not do spicy. Period.
We learned.
No. Like Flamin' Hot Cheetos would be like, okay, I take that back. My wife would eat Taco Bell's hot sauce, but Taco Bell's fire sauce is not hot.
Yeah.
It's just
like medium, if at best.
It's like barely above mild. Okay. My wife does not do spicy food. So Nick's mom one time had invited my wife and I and my daughter. My youngest wasn't around yet, I don't think. Maybe she was. Maybe she stayed home. I don't know. But it was just my oldest, and the three of us came to dinner. And I warned my wife was like, "Oh, cool. What are they gonna make?" I'm like, "Probably something spicy." I'm like, "Do you want me to ask if maybe she can make like a mild version of something?" Because we knew you were gonna. I think it was like chicken tikka masala or something like that.
It's just chicken curry.
Oh, it was curry. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was like, "Do you want to have them make something maybe mild?" And she was like, "No, I don't want to be rude, et cetera, et cetera." I'm like, but his mom's Indian. It's gonna be hot." And she was like, "No, it's fine." I'm like, "Your funeral." So anyway, we get there. When we walk in the door,
You can already smell it.
my wife's eyes were burning
Oh no.
from the smell. Like she already was like, "Whoa, this is gonna be spicy." And I was like, "Look, this isn't like There's Indian culture in Nick's mom and family. It is authentic, homemade Indian food. Okay. We sit down to eat, and my daughter is eating like hot dogs or something. I can't remember, something that your mom had made for her, just like kids' food, right? Finger food. What happened?
I got something in my eye.
Oh.
You can keep going.
Is it chicken curry? Anyway,
bring any.
so my wife sits down and we're eating, and she serves the chicken, and it's in the big pot with like the liquid that's all like
The curry.
boiled in or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Are there your glasses?
Is he dying?
No,
Do you need help? Are you sure?
I think I can see now. I think. Okay, cool. We're good.
Okay. So anyway,
This is making me cry.
the chicken looks really good. They're like chicken thighs, right?
Yeah.
And so she puts it on the plate. She grabs the vegetables and whatever else. What was the carb dish? I don't remember what it was. Like rice? Was it rice?
Rice.
Might have been rice. Anyway,
Oh, or papadum.
might have been. So my wife, she cuts the chicken with the side of the fork. It's real tender the way it's boiled in there, right? And she takes a bite and she's like, "Oh, you turned the lights on. You lost our dramatic effect." Anyway, she starts to chew and she's like this. She's like,
Isn't that what, we had yogurt too, but I don't think the yogurt was helping.
well, yeah. She was like, and then it was funny because her face starts to turn red. She starts to sweat a little bit. And she didn't want to be rude. So she ate like a good chunk of the chicken. And in my mind, I'm like, this is hilarious because I know what she's going through on the inside. She said her taste was affected for like 3 days. Oof. And I think I'd even told her, like, I'm like, just ask for a glass of milk. Okay. That'll help neutralize some of it. Meanwhile, I'm like, woo, this is hot, but this is good. Not as spicy though as that Jamaican jerk chicken we had in Long Beach.
That was pretty good though.
That was really good. It drop kicks you in the face with heat, but it was also extremely flavorful.
It's a quick burn though. It isn't like it keeps burning your mouth after you eat it kind of deal.
Mm-hmm. There's another person in chat talking about the FPS. Have at him, guys.
This is not 60 FPS. Maybe if you minimize the tab,
I think it was
you
all
don't
the
have to
dust
look
from
at
the
it.
thingy that the VR thingy that we got. That
How did it just now scoot in your eye though?
I don't know.
It's chilling on his eyebrows forever.
VY Scooty.
UI Scooty.
Yeah, VY Scooty in your ear. I mean, in your eye.
My ear.
Your ear. Where's Phil? We fired him. He's back now. We rehired him.
Yeah.
We rehired him.
Will you fight a Phil-sized Nick or a Nick-sized Phil?
That'd be weird. A Nick-sized Phil just scale me up.
No, it was
My
weird.
head would be
no,
impossible
it was
to fit
our
in any VR headset. Dude.
or door.
or door. Or car.
No, it's funny because there was that one thumbnail screwing around one time. You were standing next to me and you were super tiny, but I scaled you up to my size. It looked so weird.
Yeah.
So freaking weird. What makes you Phil is your stature. Stature?
Well,
Swag.
I swag.
it's a. I'm from Compton. I have swag. What is drugs? Wait, hold on. What is drugs?
JD, Mr. 370's in Nismo. Not one bit. Not one bit.
Dang.
Nothing wrong with the car. Let's just say there's a certain crowd that surrounds that car now.
And it didn't surround it when you had it.
No, but that car has also followed to the Camaro crowd. Whoa, what was that? It was. I guess I kicked the cable there. Okay, whatever. This show sucks.
Asus. It's Asusing.
Asus is pulling my cables out now. What is my dream car? I don't care anymore. DLSS Phil.
Yeah. You're going to see a video about that. DLSS Phil.
Actually, I'm excited for next week. There's a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline in terms of launches that I'm actually looking forward to. So in my mind, I'm like, please, companies, don't fuck it up. Give us a launch that doesn't include a drama piece, please. For the love of God, can we have a launch that doesn't go south somehow?
At least you guys have hope. I'm already expecting like the worst. So
because the shirt's upside down and it's wrinkled, I see dad boobs.
Dad boobs. Well, that's part of
like
a
dad
bod.
boobs. Dad boobs.
doobs.
Yeah, it's like you're right. Like everything, even games and stuff too. I'm like so not excited about video games right now, just because like everything that I was excited for, like KSP2 was just. I mean, it was cool.
So I picked up Guardians of the Galaxy because A, it was on sale, and B, I've been test benching.
Test bunting.
Tench besting.
Yeah, I've been benchmarking it. for the past couple
venture.
video cards.
Yeah.
So like, I want to play this, so I did, and I've actually found it enjoyable.
I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard it's actually not
The
that,
Guardians
it's like,
game?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I
like
just
a-
can't
it's-
get over the fact that they look like dollar store Guardians.
Yeah.
No, didn't.
Knock off-
So
knock off
believe it,
Guardians?
there's skins that could give them the movie skins.
Oh.
Yeah, but they're not official, right?
They look official.
Oh, I thought there was a licensing issue.
I think the game is based off of the comic book more than it is the movie. So, but they have the movie skins that you could unlock.
It probably also doesn't add the voice.
Like Drax alone looks so weird in that benchmark.
yeah.
He's not even the same color. He's like silvery blue, whereas Drax
He's
was
like-
like
he's a-
pinky red.
he's like
Oh my
a
god,
teal,
the
dude.
questions. Now it's would you rather date a female version of Nick or a female version of Phil?
No, the problem is Nick has a sister, so I can already imagine the female version of Nick.
Oh god.
But I'd have to imagine a female version of Phil would be hot.
So you said female Phil because he's already Asian? Wait, what was that?
Wait, what?
What?
Yeah. I'm not a fetish.
Don't
because I'm
explain.
Asian.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, actually, yeah, don't explain. Gross.
Next question.
Why is all tech in California?
It's not.
I'm in Florida. Oh,
California is just okay. I have a theory. Almost every single one of these companies, their main corporate headquarters, like their main offices, are in either Taiwan or China.
Yeah.
Where's the closest coast to that?
Oh, right. I didn't think of that.
the ports are here too.
The ports are here too.
Yeah.
Well, there's also Seattle. There's a port of Seattle as well for like major container ships, and Oakland, but Long Beach. So it's a short drive from there to their distribution centers that are in California, and then they just disperse them to their other regional distribution centers across the U.S.
Dude, if they really wanted to min-max it, they would just put in Anchorage. all the
Yeah.
HQs in Anchorage, because
But here's
that's
the
midpoint.
but here's the problem. Anchorage, unless you're going to ship everything by boat from Alaska to here, you can't fly batteries and stuff.
I thought Anchorage is the stop-off point for the flights to here. I know my
Yeah,
whatever-
I know, but there's a limit to what size batteries can go on a plane.
Oh, you're right.
So you're just going from a ship up and then a ship way down, so you're not exactly helping.
How does Apple get away with that with the phones? Because I know that they airship the phones.
Yeah, it's a certain size. So I'm talking about like laptops,
like a laptop or
certain
something would have
laptops,
to-
and
okay,
and
okay.
yeah. For instance, are you ready for this? The video we just did for the laptop,
Yeah.
that had to go ground.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Specifically had to go ground because of the lithium ion. So, yeah, there's some logistical reasons why I think honestly it's just all the headquarters for the U.S. or North America are in California because it's literally right here where everything comes in.
Yep.
And then some are up in the Bay Area. The rest are kind of down here.
Somebody said Anchorage has zero shipping. The whole point of that city is a shipping hub for like FedEx and UPS and DHL and all that stuff.
The thing is, we have friends that live up in Alaska, and there's lots of things they can't get, even via Amazon or whatever, because they have to go by ground and
Yeah.
or
Right.
ship. Like you can't fly certain things up there.
Because it's almost like an island. It's almost like Hawaii, basically, because there's a lot of stuff that's difficult to get there.
There's a
including
lot
batteries.
of cities and villages and stuff in Alaska that are only accessible by like seaplane, which is interesting.
Right.
I mean, but they're further north too, so there's even less stuff that they could get.
That's when you see those videos of like those the bush pilots that like do that sort of delivery stuff. Like they get contracted out by the delivery companies, and then
Yeah.
they got their little planes with the giant wheels that they can land wherever. Oh, you got a beach? Cool. You got 100 feet of it? Yeah. All right. Cool. I can land
can
it.
land
We're
it.
good.
This guy's yelling, "Trains are the answer!" from
Train.
Anchorage to California.
I like trains.
Sure. Okie dokie.
Okay.
Good night from England.
Okay, buddy.
I swear that sample. I swear to God, they put the microphone right up. They're like interviewing a cricket. It doesn't sound like crickets that are like far away. It literally sounds like
A plane-sized donut or a donut-sized plane? Easy. A
Planet-sized
plane-sized donut.
planet.
Planet.
It's even bigger.
Oh,
More
yeah.
donut.
Wow. That'd be cool. You're just hungry, you just eat the ground.
A donut-sized planet would be interesting, though. I wonder if it would bounce, or it just falls apart and it just turns into sand.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So
Yeah, if it was a donut-sized planet.
imagine if it had the same
like right
if it
here.
had the same density as a planet.
Well, it would just be a ball of sand then. Even if it had the same weight as a planet, then it would be super dense.
Mass.
Yes. Then
Because it can't be weight in space, right? So it'd be mass.
yeah.
Mass and density.
Well, density is because if it's a donut-sized planet, then it's going to be light if it's the same density as a planet, because it's not that much planet. But
what I'm saying is I want it to have the same mass as a full-size planet, the size of a basketball.
It might be a black hole. You could probably do that in Space Engine.
No, I did. I did do that once. I made a black hole the size of like a like a beach ball in Universe Sandbox.
Wasn't it like surprisingly?
It had more mass. It had more mass than our sun.
Yeah, it was like because I know the sun you have to compress to like a few centimeters or something for it to be a black hole, because it's like really, really, really not that big in the grand scheme of things.
Here we are back to space talk.
I know, right? Oh yeah, somebody asked if I enjoyed the Starship launch. Of course I did. It was a giant rocket that exploded. It was
a giant rocket that did twirls. And
yeah,
then
it did like a freaking 1080 McTwist.
Because it was supposed to do. It was supposed to do like a flip around, right? Eject and then flip again and burn.
It's supposed to be. Yeah.
It just went. Wee.
After all the stuff calmed down, and then like Elon came back with talking about how the stuff that did go wrong, like actually like went wrong with this the launch. It was kind of worrying to me that they said that there was a 40-second delay between when they activated the self-destruct and when it actually broke apart.
Should have been instantly.
Oh.
Yeah. 40 seconds is a really long time. There's a lot of time for a rocket to go flying.
Yeah, it could have definitely made its way somewhere dangerous that way.
And the reason it started flipping was that it actually had zero hydraulic pressure. So it was literally just flying a straight line, basically stuck on, and then it started flipping because like the gimbals were slightly off or whatever. But or I think it was because the thrust was asymmetric since they were losing so many engines. It was definitely an eventful launch though. It was cool to watch.
When your remote fail safes, but it catches the link later.
And then they had a Falcon Heavy launch a little bit after that, which was interesting because they like YOLO'd all 3 cores because it needed to go to geostationary, which is like it requires a lot of fuel. And it was interesting seeing SpaceX not land a booster or 3. They just sacrificed all 3 of them to the gods of rocketry, and we're just like, thank you for your service. You guys got like 20. I think it was like.
They should just adopt the Russian mentality of no self-destruct.
just full YOLO.
If you guys don't know that in chat, Russia does not believe in self-destruct on their space rockets.
Look up Everyday Astronaut biggest space booms, and there's quite a few Russian, like Proton, and like I think the N1 was part of it there. But yeah, me and Jay, I was showing Jay that video, and he was like, dude, because that rocket was like, you thought Starship did some flips.
Yeah.
That thing did flips all the way back down to the ground. It was insane.
Yeah. Because
people were like running away and stuff.
Yeah, I asked you, I'm like, why don't they self-destruct? You're like, the Russians don't believe in self-destruct.
They're just like, no.
They're like, it's going to space or it's dramatically going to hit the ground. And that's exactly what happens.
Yep.
It's interesting too when like some of these rockets explode, like the way that the camera freaks out just from the concussion of it.
Mm-hmm. Or like windows break and stuff.
Because the other thing Russians firmly believe in is the bigger the better when it comes to rockets. We're trying to go to orbit, but we have enough fuel to get to Mars. It's pretty nuts.
It does crack me up that their original capsule for Yuri Gagarin was basically just they hollowed out a spy satellite, and they're just like, well, ditch the cameras, and then we'll just kind of put a chair, because it re-entered, right? But it actually couldn't land, so he actually has to bail out of the capsule above the ground and then parachute down. That was how they actually got all the way back down to the ground. So,
and I thought that Red Bull video was crazy. The guy doing the terminal velocity jump.
No, he didn't parachute from space. I'm saying like it did the re-entry, like they had a heat shield and then it did just the heat shield and then he bails out and then parachutes from there.
So much has to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas now it's like you just stay strapped in the seat until you touch the ground and then you can get out.
Yeah. So much has to go right. Or so much is gonna go wrong.
Especially considering it was like the first dude. So like that was that guy either was really dumb or really brave.
I was watching
when you get early access and it turns out to be decent.
I was watching some of the late 1950s, early 1960s like human tests.
Yeah.
And did you ever see the one where the test dummy, and I say test dummy, it's a person, and you have to be a dummy, I think, to sign up for this one. Say he signed up to be strapped to a rocket sled. Okay.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
And they were testing
like
the
how
sudden.
Much G's, yeah,
they were
right?
testing the sudden stop capabilities of the human body, and basically they shoot him with a rocket, and then it hits these brake pads that just stop the rocket as fast as possible. His retina's detached. Like he immediately he had like all kinds of internal injuries. He survived. Yeah. But he had all kinds of internal injuries from organs just slamming against his rib cage and stuff. And his retina's literally fully detached from his eyeballs. So even though it was black and white, they showed like he was like looking around and talking afterward, and he's kind of like drunk looking. His eyes were just solid black because of the amount of blood in his eyes.
That's going to be what a Spirit Air landing is going to be like once they start doing this shit. All right, we're going to be re-entering in a few minutes. Or it'll be like the Mineo in The Expanse when he's all trying to speed run through the ring and then it stops him.
I want to know.
Sorry, it stops his ship.
I want to know what the ad looked like for like within NASA / the military, because these are all military folks, right? Even the volunteers. What incentivized him?
Oh yeah,
to go. Yeah, I'll shoot a rocket and hit the brakes.
Yeah, you're right. Who signs up for that? Unless you get signed up for it, which that's scary.
But literally, it was this whole documentary I was watching about some of the space program testing we did on the human body, just down here under 1G. Mm-hmm. And then
I'm surprised they did it to a human, because I know the Air Force used like bears to test the ejection seats before they tested on humans.
Bears to smell the ejection.
Dude, like imagine that bear though. You're just chilling and you're like, oh, the humans are pretty nice. They got me this decent room.
I got this nice chair.
Yeah, they feed me every time. Oh, what's this thing?
Then we went on to monkeys.
It's like, I don't know why they use the bear. Like, it doesn't seem that close to human, like, mass-wise,
Money, lots and lots of money. Nope, I guarantee you whoever signed up for those did not get lots and lots of money. Someone else is saying
volunteered.
No, I know that. I see that comment, but they absolutely do look for volunteers first within a certain like MOS type of job. And then if you don't get the volunteers, then you get delegated.
Yeah, they had like they had a team once of 5 volunteers. I think they were volunteers, where they were gonna get a nuke detonated above them in the air to show that like an airburst, like they can control the amount or like how you would feel the detonation or the detonation's effects in the air.
So here's what we're gonna do.
Literally,
you're gonna sit in this boat.
No, it was over the ground. They were just standing.
We're gonna fly over you. We're gonna detonate this nuke, sir. You'll be fine. Yeah, that's the whole point of this.
Put these sunglasses on. It's fine.
Meanwhile, years later, why do we have 4 arms?
Mr. Stark,
IKEA said a bear equals a Polynesian stand-in.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so you know your 0-0 ejection seat can eject the Polynesian.
Before anyone in chat gets mad, he's Polynesian, therefore he can say that.
Yep.
The Russians left dogs up there. They're still up there, rumor has it.
Or
hey, we got a manhole cover still orbiting the Earth, so.
Yeah, I think the first like living creature in space was Laika the dog. She re-entered very hot.
She became a hot dog.
So R.I.P. Thank you for your service. Like
that was the first Oscar Mayer wiener.
Basically, yeah. I think they said that like the dog died before the re-entry anyway, but like because of like running out of supplies or something up there. I don't know.
Running out of life.
Basically.
What's how long?
Oxygen, maybe.
How long was the dog up there if they ran out of supplies?
Dude, it's the
Does
Russians
a dog know how to resupply itself?
Does a dog know how to re-enter a spacecraft? But it's like
I love our history, and by history I just mean humans. Because do you remember the pigeon bombs? Mm-hmm. do you guys, chat? Do you know what pigeon bombs are? They were pigeon-guided missiles.
Bombs, yeah.
So basically, they trained these pigeons to identify. Like I can't remember exact. Like they gave the positive reinforcement.
Yeah, but like the pictures of the warships that they were targeting.
They
they
trained them against these screens to peck
where the warship
at the ship.
Yeah.
Like somehow they trained them to peck at the ship. The thing was they then put these pigeons inside actual ordnances that were guided. Like literally, but they were like they didn't have computers to guide back then. So they were just like, we'll use the pigeon. So whenever the pigeon would tap on the screen, it would make course adjustments to the ship. So this pigeon was pecking its way to a boat. And science somewhere went, hold on. Let me imagine how this conversation went in the war room. We need to guide our ordinances to these ships. No more dumb bombs, right?
This just feels like.
So what do we do, sir? I know, pigeons. It's what? Hear me out.
Yeah. Oh,
We'll train the pigeons.
Hold on. You want me to get the guy that wanted to strap the bombs onto the bats on the line too?
No, that guy's crazy.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So the pigeons.
That was also a true story, by the way. You guys can look that one up.
This sounds like an aperture science conversation.
Dude, this is the stuff that they like.
Lemons.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my engineers to invent a combustible lemon.
Oh, I love that from Portal.
Yeah.
But the pigeons. Like, I mean, come on, we had pigeon messengers, right?
Yeah.
It's funny, for such a stupid animal, and all the ones that are in my house are really dumb. I have a pool, and I got tired of them, like, pooping on the edge of the pool because they would try and drink from the spa. I put these owl deterrents up. Now, they know now they're not real owls. So I have to, like, move them around periodically so they think, like, oh, it moved, therefore it must be real. But I love watching them because they'll fly down, they're like... And then they see it, they're like, they fly away, right? So I'm like, okay, that worked for a little while.
I just love that Jay's in a mental battle with pigeons.
Every now and they're winning. They're winning.
They're winning.
So now they get to the point to where they'll land like far away from it, and then they do this.
Oh, they slowly like test the waters.
And
Like
then
move and scan,
and I'll
move
be
and
sitting
scan.
there watching out the window, and then they realize like, okay, it's not real, and they'll hop down to the little spillway and try and drink from the water. The reason why I want them drinking and stuff from my pool is they poop all over it. Okay, so I don't want bird poop all over the edge of the pool coping. Anyway, so then as soon as they hop down, they think it's safe. I go boom on the glass, and they fly away again. So. Hey, it's better than the alternative of me investing in an airsoft gun just for them.
I feel like you should just fly your tiny hawk.
Just kamikaze tiny hawk into the.
That would get expensive every time I crash a tiny hawk into the spa.
That or like a pigeon just takes it away and then you're screwed.
Yeah,
That's funny.
So I had to put all these reflectors, these special pigeon reflectors, like all around the edges of my house and on all the peaks, because the reflection like artifacting screws with their vision and they can't land. It's funny because I've watched them try and land, and they go. Let's say this is the pitch of my roof. Phil, they'll land and they'll go
That's funny.
and then they fly away to the neighbor's house. So now they just sit on the neighbor's house and go to my pool.
That's funny. Maybe,
I've offered to put them on the neighbor's roof, and they're like, "No, that's okay." I'm like, "They're literally shitting all over your roof. Like when it rains, it looks like white rain coming off your roof." Like, no, it's fine. I've offered to pay for it, and they're like, "No."
Oh my god!
You should have seen the amount of poop that was shoveled out from under my solar panels until we put up the fencing around it.
Because they kind of they
turn it into like a nest. Yeah.
Oh geez.
Shovels of poop. Shovels and shovels and shovels. Of poop. It's okay. They can't get in there now. We have a fence around it.
Smart.
Maybe Asus uses pigeons to determine how they launch BIOSes.
They're using pigeons to write the BIOS.
I still love that though. The idea of a bird inside of a missile just cracks me up.
I want to know how the bird survives the launch, but they did.
Oh, I thought you were going to say.
I guess these were launched from aircraft though, and they weren't like shot.
Yeah.
They were like dropped, and then they would like just kind of guide. Like they were basically like a gliding bomb.
Yeah.
Because I don't think a pigeon would survive like a Sidewinder light.
Honestly, yeah, I've always heard the story as bombs, not missiles. I think that's why.
It's just a guided bomb, and they just float down.
I'm just imagining like it just cracks me up. Another thing that trips me out about that story is that like, dude, that might have been the first touch screen ever too, because they had to invent that technology. Because it's not like they had iPhones.
It's impressive that they eventually replaced the pigeon with computers.
Yeah. And it's
But
funny
the pigeon was the first computer for ordinances then.
and all a guidance computer does is this image, put it in the middle.
Yeah.
And hold it there, and then that's all it does.
Right.
Even the DART mission where we hit that asteroid.
But the pigeon has to tap it so that it has feedback on where the image is.
Yeah.
So if it taps in the top right, it knows like, oh, we got to go up and to the right.
It was like a 9x9 grid basically. And then so if it tapped in the middle, it was like, okay, cool, don't change. You know, if it taps on the right, then blah blah blah. But
I did see some of the test videos that were hilarious because every now and then the pigeon would randomly tap somewhere it wasn't supposed to. So the bomb's like, like way off course. And you just see it like randomly doing things, and it's trying to turn again, and you just see it
it's just funny
into the water.
Like you drop a bomb in DCS, you're just like, oh, well, it didn't feel like going to the target today. Oh, well,
no, what we honestly need is we need like a 1950s because this is like early 1950s.
Pigeons work better than arm rate crate. Yeah, yeah, they do.
And they download faster.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to download and install Armory Crate, people? Anyway, the Pigeons, it's hilarious because this takes place between World War II and Vietnam, right? Or Korea War, technically. So I feel like we need a Battlefield game where you drop a bomb and then you have to tap the screen with your mouse, like click to guide it.
I feel that there'll be like the mobile companion app.
Yeah.
You have to tap from your Because what was it?
For maximum immersion, you have to actually use your head.
Your nose.
Yeah, you have to use your nose.
I mean, it was like Battlefield 3. You could be a commander from a tablet, right?
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I miss those days because I used to do that when I traveled for work. I didn't have a gaming laptop that could play Battlefield, so I just would do the app on my iPad, and then I would just do commander stuff.
Yeah.
But again, they had to go and break everything I love. All right, moving on. So
yeah, another sad thing.
we had some emails come in that I requested from live chat. So this comes from Jeremy. He says, "Hey, if you could build a point-in-time tribute or nostalgic build, what would the combination be?" And he's specifically asking for favorite nostalgic generation of GPU and CPU.
I feel like it's just going to be all three of our childhood era computers.
No,
right?
no.
Okay.
My favorite is still that E6100. Or E6300, that 1.86 gigahertz Core 2 Duo that I ran at 3.42 its entire life. And that was paired with the 8800 GTX.
Ooh, that's a good card. That's a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the 8800 GTX Ultra.
I would definitely do my old Pentium 3 800 megahertz and a Voodoo 3 2000 build just to play the crap out of Quake 3 and suck at it.
It's a toss-up between the 580, because that's like my first like decent one, or the 980, the MSI 980. I thought was like the GTR of graphics cards at the time.
That black and silver one.
Yeah.
Dude, my friend's still on a 980 Ti.
He was referring to the specific one from Gigabyte. That was a Gigabyte card.
Ooh.
Yeah. That was also from the era though where they were thin metal and they liked to squish and then the fans wouldn't turn. If you were like, the problem I found this was one of the.
If it got shipped and jostled even slightly.
No, it's not that. This is what irritated me about this with Gigabyte. This was like the first like major complaint I had as a content creator, is they would take those coolers, right, which are very flimsy metal, and then put them in the anti-static bag, and then they would push them in the thing, and then push it down, and then push the foam, and it would squish it. Yeah. And it was happening repeatedly for multiple generations. And I was like, how could they not know this was happening?
I think like right when I first started working with you, you had one of those cards that was messed up, and that was the reason you gave me. You're like, oh yeah, the fan doesn't turn because it got bent. And I was like, what?
I got one too. It was like the Gigabyte 1080.
But those are the ones where the fans overlapped. So there was one fan like underneath and two fans overlapping. So if it got like bent at all, then the middle fan wouldn't turn, which sucked. But and if you were gonna like water cool, it didn't matter. Those were the WindForce OC cards.
Oh yeah.
Wait, no, that's the MSI. MSI was WindForce.
Gigabyte's WindForce.
Gigabyte was like Extreme.
Gigabyte was WindForce.
Okay.
Everyone in chat, tell Nick how wrong he is. Moving on. No, so the 8800 GTX Ultra was my first high-end card, but it was a generation old because I had actually bought it from Brian.
Oh, right.
When he went to the GTX 285 or whatever it was, the first dual card. It might have been 295, but it was a dual GPU card. But yes, anyway, WindForce is absolutely Gigabyte. Let's see here. Okay, this one comes from Stephen Hoffman. That sounds very famous. Hey, Jay, Nick, and Phil. Which is each of your favorite guilty pleasure movie? Something not rated well, or was just overlooked at the time, but you enjoy watching or rewatching. I love Wayne's World and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. There's nothing wrong with Bill and Ted's.
Yeah, those are like classics.
I have a couple that come to mind.
Go for it. I'm still thinking of mine.
Napoleon Dynamite. For I don't know why. That's just nostalgia for me. It's early 2000s. I was already an adult.
The joke is I don't know why. That's why.
Hey.
No,
do the hand motion again. Oh, it stopped it. It was still going. Do it again. No, I liked the World of Warcraft movie. Everyone hated that movie.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It really comes down to Napoleon Dynamite was terrible.
That reminded me of
Blades of Glory as well.
Oh, I never saw that one.
It's bad. It's so bad.
I like Nacho Libre.
I never saw it.
Oh, okay.
I like Jack Black, but I never saw that one.
Nacho Libre, Hot Fuzz, and Shaun of the Dead.
Those are all good movies. They're not
how could those be guilty pleasures?
Yeah.
Guilty pleasures are like you love to watch Legally Blonde.
We should do guilty pleasure. Okay, let's do guilty pleasure songs after the movies. But okay, my movies would probably be Speed Racer, like the Wachowski siblings.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah, that one and Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. Because you mentioned the video
That
game
was
movie.
good though.
Yeah, but I mean, like in the overall scheme of things, everyone was like, "Nerdy video game movie sucks." It's all CG.
Look at them now.
I know. Guilty pleasure song would be Britney Spears' "Toxic." I will blast that at like 500 decibels.
Aqua's Barbie Girl.
Nice.
I feel like
Because my kids just started messing around
Oh
with that
no,
song.
they found
Yep.
out about it.
Oh, geez.
Come on, Bobby, let's go party. Yeah. The problem is if you listen to the lyrics, it's extremely dirty.
Yeah. So you're in like a little Goldilocks.
Undress me everywhere. It's fantastic. Made of plastic. Yeah, it's terrible. And my kid's singing that. I'm like, actually, I don't like the song anymore. You know?
Yeah. When you listen to stuff.
It's bad. Like, it's not. The lyrics are terrible for an 8-year-old to be singing.
It's like when you finally like understand what the lyrics of My Pony is about, and then you're just like,
Yeah.
oh.
Nick.
I'm thinking. I mean, Toxic is a good one. Hit Me Baby One. Like anything Britney Spears at this point. And then T Swift.
I think it was because
Hold on. What's T Swift? I'm curious now.
There's a couple, but right now it's Antihero.
So Tay-Tay.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to have a slumber party? We listen to Tay-Tay and do our nails.
Well, I know you're not down because I have family.
I'm trying to get away.
Well, let me ask my mom because you have to
You
ask
ask your mom.
You're 31 years old.
Hold on, I gotta ask my mom.
Yeah.
You're 31 years old. Yeah. Oh my God.
I love it.
You have to ask my mom because if I ask, she's gonna say no.
Oh yeah. No. You got to do the thing where you just show up with him behind you.
No, I'm
at
gonna
the door.
ask your mom. I'm gonna ask your mom. She's gonna be like, well, actually, Nick has chores to do.
He has homework.
Oh my gosh.
Because
You're
homework.
not wrong, Phil.
He has to level up to Plat 2 in Rocket League before Jay can come over.
Well, guess they're not coming over then. Sucks.
I'm okay with it.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, Maurice Wright in chat says, so we know so much about Nick. How much do you guys know about Nick? Anyway, but not as much about Phil. When Jay and Phil met, did Phil geek out? If not, insert Phil on the team story here. I put out a job listing and Phil's friend who watches the channel, Phil had watched it periodically and he'd seen like the Terry Crews stuff and whatnot. But his friend was like, hey, you should apply. And Phil was like, oh, okay, sure, whatever. He probably will never get noticed. And they got hired and here you are.
You gotta tell him when you first realized how tall I am.
So the way the process went is I was not involved in the hiring until the very end. I got the final say.
Yeah.
But my operations officer, he's the one that did all the vetting of the application process and the initial reading the applications. And then there was first a Slack meeting. He had a Slack interview online with all the candidates and he recorded all of them so that I could just watch them later. And what I'm looking for in the Slack calls was not just what is your capability as an editor, what is your technology knowledge, because tech knowledge and PC knowledge was secondary. That I didn't need my editor or my videographer to be versed in tech. It was a huge bonus, but it wasn't necessary for what the position was entailing. So watching the video, it seemed like there was a pretty good dynamic. Like I could tell you were nervous, but Brian's pretty good at breaking the ice and making people feel comfortable. And you made a couple of like edgy jokes, not like, and by edgy jokes, I mean a couple of responses, like that's what she said kind of a thing, just kind of like to the point where I was like, okay, this guy could meld with the team because we're all inappropriate here.
Because that's like a thing that a lot of people don't think about is like, when you're hiring for a company that's kind of like this, it's very important to make sure that the vibe works.
And if you kind of tested the waters a little bit there and we were uncomfortable with it, it wouldn't have been a good fit because none of us can. It's very hard in our videos to not. We always say something that has to be cut, but we do it just to get it out so that we can not have to slip later. Okay, let's face it. But the thing was like, it felt like okay, his personality, he's energetic. Your laugh happened. Yeah, you were.
I'm kidding.
Your laugh happened a few times, and I'm like, oh, that laugh, right? Like everyone else, and then. It just felt comfortable with that particular. Watching the interview, I'm like, okay, he seems like somebody that would fit with the team. Then we did the in-person. Actually, Brian and I had meetings about it. We discussed it, and we had we had narrowed it down to a few more. And then I believe he had called you back and was like, "Hey, are you cool with doing an in-person meeting where you get to meet Jay. And that's where we went to Eureka Burger.
Oh yeah, I remember
and we
that.
had our like just a lunch meeting kind of a thing. And I remember when you walked up, I was like, and my first thought was, damn, because I was like, how is he gonna film me if he's literally 5 feet? What are you, 5'2"?
Yeah, 5'2".
Yeah, I'm like, how the heck?
Literally a foot over.
I'm like,
a foot
how
shoulder.
is this gonna? Every shot's gonna be an up the nostril shot. Is what I'm thinking. I'm like, shit.
Because Jay forgot that like monopods exist.
Never used one. Never used
yeah.
one. Didn't even own one. I had to buy it for you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was hand holding everything.
Because you're
roughly
tall. You're
his height,
6 foot.
Yeah.
So I'm 6'4". For those who don't know, you can convert that to inch or to whatever
to inches,
centimeters,
to metric
whatever
inches.
crap, stones. I don't know, hands. I don't know how you guys measure in
I
other
think
parts
you're
of the
like
world.
190 something, and I'm like 150. Something.
Americans will measure in any kind of unit of measurement.
Except for metric.
Except for metric, yeah.
So anyway, I have a response to that in a second. So my first thought was like, damn it, this. How is this going to work? Anyway, we went to lunch. Everything was great. We chatted for a while. We threw a few hypotheticals at you. No, actually, I take that back. It wasn't the Eureka Burger. Didn't we meet at Blaze Pizza first?
Yeah, I think so. It was outside one of those restaurants or something like that.
Did we have 2 in-person meetings?
We had one performance test where you had me film the
Okay,
one
then
of the
it
phases
was-
of the
Yeah, then it was
Pokemon
Eureka
bit.
Burger. Then we didn't. I think what I'm confusing is Brian and I had a lunch meeting separate, and then okay. So I said, yeah, bring him in for an interview in person.
By the way, for the metric people, 193 centimeters for Jay and 157 for me.
So we had that in-person meeting, and I was like, okay. And Brian and I already decided, like, if it's going well, we'll do trial by fire with you that day, because that was literally part 1 of the Post Malone.
Yep.
So not only were you like, okay, cool. That's when I was like, can you stay for a couple hours and kind of, because you already said you knew the FS7 or the FS5, and we were very comfortable with our hardware that we have, and you knew it very well. I was like, cool. Do you mind kind of shooting something for us today, just so we can kind of see your process and your train of thought? And you were like, cool. I'm like, sweet, because Post Malone's coming by today, and you can film that. And your first thought was like, oh shit, okay, cool. And then you're like me, you don't nerd out and get all starstruck. You weren't like, oh God, it's Post Malone. Mm-hmm. You might have a little bit with Terry Crews, because he has that effect on people. He's super cool.
Yeah, I
but
definitely would have. with Terry
no, you
Crews.
nailed it. And then I think we offered you the job like the next day.
Yep.
So it's pretty standard.
Oh, for the
how that all
audio
went
people,
down.
the audio only people. Yeah, when the motion Jay made when he first met me was basically like he was looking like a foot above where my head should be, and then he slowly looked down and then realized.
I was like, oh man.
It's like, how is this physically gonna work? And it's like, it's okay. We got equipment.
I looked at it this way. Your resume, although wasn't studio heavy, it was you're very much a run and gun on location type of videographer.
I mean, that's how I got.
But you adapted quickly and well, and it went on. The rest is history, as they say.
Yeah.
What I want to say to you, Nick, is you said Americans will find a way to measure anything except
in metric.
So you have 17 millimeter, 15 millimeter, you got T3s, you got your Torx, you got your triple squares and all that shit. What size wrench do all of those fit in? 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch, and 1/2 inch.
Yeah, you're right. Why are the drives?
Every single wrench on the planet uses inch as the socket type, and then whatever the socket is for the size. So all y'all are using Imperial, okay?
And you can always
Every freaking one of you.
And you can always do the joke that like, oh, we can't hear you from the moon or Mars. We can't hear your centimeters. But the funny thing about that though is that like I've played so much Kerbal that like when I see like a space shuttle launch like characteristic or something and it's like, oh, it's blah 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 in feet per second. I'm like, I have no idea how fast that is. I don't know.
Because you're used to meters per
I'm already
second.
used to using metric for all the space stuff because everything else uses it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does crack me up that like I literally have a better feel for meters per second than feet per second in my head.
Daryl Masters wants to know if you get paid well. You're still here, so I hope so.
What if I just don't have a choice? No, I'm kidding.
Wow. You don't have a choice?
Is 5'4" short in the United States? Yes. I'm pretty much short everywhere, except for the Philippines, which is my native people, and I'm like slightly short there too. Dude, if you went to the Philippines, you would literally never have to not see anything. Like you would be able to see across the entire country. Like literally, I swear. I don't think there's anyone. There's like probably maybe 2 people that are like as tall as Nick, if that.
So Aaron Belaski in chat says, heard this on the radio one time and the debate was hilarious. How many third graders could you take on at once? No weapons, just your body.
Oh, dude, I'm screwed. I
don't know. Well, you could put up quite the fight, but I think maybe your cardio capacity is where you're.
Yeah, I'll put like an initially okay fight.
Are these American kindergarten or third graders? Or are these other? Because American third graders have a little more heft. If you know what I'm saying.
I thought you were gonna say because they're armed.
Wow, you're so tall. You built like a giraffe. Well, you're built like a baked bean.
I thought you were just.
It's like that. It's like that doctor kid I showed you. So there's this. I sent it to the group chat.
Oh,
you
you
didn't see it?
No,
yeah, look at the group chat. I sent that. I think it was this morning.
Yeah,
it was this morning.
Or
Look at
last night.
It's a doctor's kit, right? Tell them wait, hold on. Tell them what's on the kit, and then tell them what the last item is.
Okay, so there's the stethoscope. There's some pills. There are bowling pins for some reason, and like a heart monitor and
a shotgun.
It's like a pump action revolver shotgun rifle with 3 darts that go into it, and it says "play a game" right next to it. So this doctor did not take.
It's a horse doctor,
Yeah,
dude.
well,
They did not take the doctor's oth.
they did not take the Hippocratic Oath. Do no harm.
It was a doctor's kit with a gun in it.
I just like that it's like a
Creating patients one at a time.
But it's like a casserole of a gun because it has like every.
Yeah.
It's like a revolver shotgun pump.
It's like a zombie apocalypse weapon. Yeah, but it has a gun in it.
It's a horse doctor.
So do the third graders have guns? Because it's possible, I guess, these days.
I just love that the gun is still in the blue and pink like color scheme.
Yeah,
too.
it's very feminine.
Cute. Yeah,
very feminine. It's all pink and white. And
So what's the size of an average class nowadays? Is it like 20, 25?
I don't know.
do you think you could take on 25 third graders?
I think I could take a class.
I was a big third grader, okay? Let me put it in perspective for you. In third grade, that's almost 10, right?
9.
8
to 9.
I was a solid 125 pounds, and I was already like 5'5".
So those are the ones you have to prioritize first.
Somebody said.
Do you know
what's 9mm ammo in American system? It's also 9mm. So yeah, we do use metric sometimes, just for guns and drugs apparently.
But don't forget, we also have the 45 and the 40 and
my
gauge.
gosh.
Yeah.
So
I think
look at it this way: an ant can't take on like a bullfrog, right? But enough ants will disassemble the bullfrog.
Yeah.
okay.
So you'll get disassembled.
If it happens, it happens. Like, look, either I'm going to get put out of my misery or...
No
I'm
Checkmark
gonna-
Games is asking, do they all attack at once or they line up? No, it'd have to be at once.
Yeah,
it
it
has
have
to be at once.
Because the only thing
Yeah,
that would happen is eventually you wouldn't be able to lift your arms anymore if it's an infinite number of third graders.
Yeah, this isn't.
It's like taking on a zombie horde.
It's going to be like Kingsman. Like, they all just go wild.
Oh yeah, like the church scene.
Yeah, like the church. It's just going to look like that.
But it's also like, yeah, I was gonna say, attack all at once instead of like a Marvel movie where they always take turns to attack the plot armor people.
I'm gonna say, even though I'm a bigger dude, I have a workout capacity that's pretty high, pretty good cardio for a guy my size, and plenty of strength. I'm gonna say I could easily take 50 plus. I think all I would have to do, honestly, because one, I have an extremely high pain threshold, so I'd be able to just endure. But I don't think any of these third graders are going to survive more than one hit from me. And probably multiples of them through one swing.
Are they like hopped up a Mountain Dew or... Like,
that's more perfect because I can use their own momentum against them. But all I have to do is keep them from getting around behind.
just get one and then use.
yeah, use that
pick them,
one to
grab
check
them by
out
the
other
ankles, and start doing like they do with ice skating, right? Wee wee
It's
wee.
gonna be
Anyway,
like Neo versus
so-
Agent Smith, like that. The scene.
Oh my god, yeah.
so I feel like
It's
as
just a
long
burly
as
brawl.
well, I feel like as long as you protect your backside, like you can't take any kidney punches and
Yeah.
back of the neck, like that kind of stuff, the sensitive areas. I feel like as long as you can protect and be backing up while taking all attacks from the front, I think easily 50, just my hands.
I think so.
And then if I get bored, I'll probably start picking up and breaking necks and stuff like that. I mean, he asked.
Yeah, they did.
Just
ask.
your body. Phil?
Yeah. I think
3? No, you could take on 10.
maybe like a half a class or a class.
The thing is, it's gonna be like any.
I could probably take on a whole class of like 25, but like I would be pretty messed up at the end, you know.
Then the boss comes in. No, it's gonna be like any zombie game, right? You're gonna have different size and capabilities. You're gonna have a few of the giant boomers walking around. You're gonna have some that you're gonna have to sort of prioritize.
As long as the screamers are going to be the most annoying ones.
Yeah, because they just get other classes to jump in.
Yeah. Like I said, you got to prioritize.
They might even be taller than me. I don't know.
So Peter T says, Jay, you're 6'4". Remember exactly where those third graders are going to be hitting.
Yeah, you got to protect your backside and your front side for you.
Joke's on you. I can retract it into my body.
Wait, hands free or?
No, it's like Dwight. So I'm a huge Office fan. Dwight was also the one's like, I can also make my penis retract into my body. So it's like, there you go. You know, you don't have to worry about it then. I guess you can't retract your nuts into your body, though. It's not the penis you have to be worried about. Right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I don't know. I've never like had to think about this.
I just jumped in. What the hell are we talking about right now?
It's from the freaking audience question because you guys are awesome.
Yeah, it's how many third graders can we take on?
Yeah.
And because I'm tall, I have to protect the biddies in the front, the bits. Okay.
Wait, but what if you tell them that they all win 20 V-Bucks though? Then we're screwed.
Oh, yeah.
No, they all get unlimited Roblox.
Oh, yeah,
Robux.
we're so screwed.
Okay, last question here. With the summer coming up, what are your methods to minimize heat output for gaming? Don't game. Okay. That's you can't there's no minimizing it.
That's physics.
What kind of... Next question.
No, I closed it. I was done.
How do you make a fire have less fire? It's basically
I don't know.
what they
Enclose it so it doesn't have air.
Somebody said take a freezing cold bath and your nuts will auto retract. Like it's a feature.
Yeah,
Wait, hold on.
take an
I
ice bath
can't
real
fight
quick.
these 50+ third graders because I have to take a cold bath real quick.
Yeah.
No, you have to fight them while in the bath.
Oh my
I
gosh.
don't know why I just thought of like it's like an anime like transformation sequence. Activate battle mode.
Okay, here we go.
Yes, that's the sound they make when they retract.
I was thinking more like Crisis.
Oh yeah, here's a maximum ball protection.
Brought to you by JayzTwoCents.
And then you get the hexagons around the side, but they're just balls.
Ramirez, get to the Burger Town.
Ramirez, retract your ball.
Hold F to retract balls.
Hold F to retract ball. This is the best episode ever. Oh my god. Anyway, hi Jay.
I was trying to change the question in my mind. How many could you take on if you were allowed one weapon, and what would the weapon be? I feel like people would immediately be like, "Oh, no, giant axe! I'm just swinging around." Yeah, but you're gonna wind yourself.
Can
really
it be
quickly.
a lightsaber so I could just like live out
No.
my Anakin fantasy before I die?
No, and not to mention, think about how awkward it would be swinging a lightsaber because there's no tip weight. Swinging swords and stuff, it's all about the balance and the tip weight.
Yeah, every time I've used a lightsaber in VR,
Shut up.
Jesus. I'm sorry. I was gonna say no. That's why lightsabers don't really work in VR combat games because you can just do this.
Yeah.
You just flail it. Yeah, hold it out in front of you and flail it, and then they're dead.
No, what real weapon that exists that's a handheld weapon would you use? It can't be like a cannon. You can't do that.
I mean, at this point, because I'm probably gonna die anyway, I feel like
Oh God.
it would be interesting to just get my John Wick on and use a pistol. And like try to learn CQB before I die.
Yeah.
That's all good and that's all fun and games until your first reload because you're gonna drop the magazine on the reload and the bullets are gonna fall out of it and you're just gonna be like, oh crap, you gotta pick it up.
You gotta do it like Left 4 Dead 2. You just keep meleeing until your gun's fully reloaded and then you can shoot.
You're gonna go to try and put the slide back. You're gonna somehow slide it off. Is the gun's falling apart in your hand?
I wish.
But that's when the John Wick engages. Like you just stab them with the lower of the gun.
I wish I recorded the first time I played Onward in VR because it was hilarious. That's exactly what happened. I was like crouched behind a thing trying to reload. I dropped like 2 mags on the ground and like I accidentally grabbed a grenade instead of the next mag. And they're just like, dude, we need cover fire. And I'm like, I'm just panicking because the panic is real, right? Like you could practice all you want, but until that's drilled into your head, like actual people that fight, like soldiers and stuff. Like, yeah, no, the moment like stuff starts going down, it just becomes hilarious. I was like pushing the magazines on the ground on accident, trying to grab them. It was hilarious.
That was my favorite part of watching a reffing the paintball team, like paintball groups. And
the panic happened?
We want to go to the speedball field. Like, are you sure? Are you sure about that? And then they go, but as soon as the noise starts hitting the bunker, they just go full panic and like.
They just sit there like covering their ears.
Yeah, they're just like, it's loud.
Because they're not hearing the. You see, hear it bouncing like the reverb sound in there.
Yeah.
I always think like of that. Was it Mike Tyson quote where he's just like, everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face? It's like, you could practice all your reloads until you're getting shot.
Mike Tyson has great quotes. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, and people got way too comfortable with not getting punched in the mouth when they say something like that deserves it.
Punched in the mouth.
Punched in the mouth. Mike Tyson. What weapon would you choose, Nick?
I just do like, I don't know, just a little short knife.
Little short knife?
Yeah.
I was thinking like a surgeon's scalpel.
No, I'm thinking
like an X-Acto knife, basically?
No, I'm thinking
surgeon scalpels are round. X-Acto knives are like a triangle.
Oh, right.
Yeah, no, honestly, just something lightweight. Let's just make them really regret their choices. You know, they won't die. They'll just retreat because they'll think about.
Somebody said, "What about a whip?" I don't have any points in Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I'm not Indy.
All right. Well, that's the wrong button. This was an interesting show. Oh man, that's what happens when you just end up de-gaffing for the week. But
I say it went well.
A mini nuke. Yeah, I guess that'll technically
I have
count.
one more show. I have one more show that I'll be a part of for sure prior to my surgery, and then we'll figure out what's gonna happen. But I don't want the show to stop if I'm not able to be here. So somehow, some way, I'll be here and involved. I'm not sure what that means, but something. So anyway, guys, if you want to write us, rtfm@JayzTwoCents.com. Fun questions like the whole how many third graders could you take on with just your body kind of questions are what we're looking for here.
No tech questions.
I don't want to help you with your computer. No, I don't want to help you pick parts. No, I don't want to help you troubleshoot it. All right, guys.